Want to know how good Luka Doncic has been this postseason? In 17 playoff games, Luka has notched 6 triple-doubles. That's more than every other player in the postseason combined. To take it a step further, Luka has more triple-doubles in this single playoff run than James Harden, Steph Curry, Giannis, and Durant have had in their entire playoff careers. Yes, this large man right here. If you didn't know who Luka was and somebody told you that he was a professional athlete, you'd expect him to be like a bowler or a dart thrower or a professional Overwatch player, not the greatest basketball player in the world. Yet, that's exactly what he is, dominating in a league of world-class athletes in one of the greatest offensive postseasons we've ever seen. Despite having the speed of a turtle with no legs, Luka has been having a historic postseason, averaging 28, 9-9. Out of all players who made the conference finals, that's first in points, third in rebounds, and first in assists. The man has been far and away the best player this postseason. And when you consider all the talk that's been going on about which young superstar is going to be the next face of the NBA, Luka's proving that he's still head and shoulders above all of them. And quite honestly, it doesn't matter what age they are, because the 28, 9-9 that he's averaging this postseason has been pulled off by only 3 other players in the history of the NBA. Nikola Jokic did it last season in what is regarded as one of the greatest playoff runs of all time. LeBron got it done in the greatest postseason of his illustrious career when he carried the Cavs to the finals back in 2018. And the great Oscar Robertson averaged these numbers over 60 years ago. It's one of the most impressive statistical postseason runs we've ever seen by a dude who has a negative vertical leap. It's hilarious, but I got something that's even funnier and crazier to show you. When the Mavericks faced the Thunder in the second round of this year's playoffs, Luka had the worst postseason series of his career in regard to his total production and efficiency, averaging 24, 10, and 8 on 56% true shooting. For anybody else, these numbers would be exceptional, but per Doncic's standards, it was him at his worst. Now, here comes the funny part. Luka at his absolute lowest was putting up numbers that only LeBron James and a prime Jokic have ever put up in a series. It really puts into perspective how phenomenal this dude is. Luka at his worst is better than 99.9% of NBA players. It's insane. Doncic's incredible play during these playoffs has been the cherry on top for an incredible regular season, one where he finished third in MVP voting. And of the top 5 candidates, Luka is the only one who made it past the second round. You can argue that he's been the real most valuable player this year, regular season and playoffs. But despite not capturing that elusive piece of hardware, Doncic still earned a significant accolade. For the 5th time in 6 years, Luka made the All-NBA first team. Simply put, he's been regarded as a top 5 player every season other than his rookie year. To put how incredible this is into context, in his 15 seasons, Stephen Curry made All-NBA first team just 4 times. In Dirk's 21-year Hall of Fame career, he also made just 4 first-team All-NBAs. In fact, Luka has more selections than guys like Iverson, Westbrook, CP3, Kawhi, Garnett, and Nash. Just 6 years into his career, Doncic has undoubtedly become one of the all-time greats. And adding a Larry O'Brien trophy and possible Finals MVP to his resume may catapult him into being a top 25 player of all time. And I got some stats to back that up, because this dude puts up scoring numbers in the postseason that I can't even sniff against a bunch of bums at the YMCA. These are the top 100 scorers in NBA playoff history, relative to their points per game. There's Magic, Patrick Ewing, Tim Duncan, and Kawhi Leonard. But if we get to a higher elevation, you'll find the greatest postseason scorers of all time. Kobe, Dame, the Iceman, Steph, LeBron, Jerry West, and unquestionably the NBA's ultimate playoff performer in MJ, with 33 points per game. The gap between Mike and everybody else is a wide one. Well, except for one dude who splits it in half. Luka Doncic is the only player in Michael Jordan's airspace. The dude is regarded as a top 3 player in the world, but when the playoffs arrive, he evolves like a Pokemon, playing at a level that only one player has ever reached before. Containing this guy on offense is practically impossible because he isn't only one of the greatest scorers of all time, he's also one of the best playmakers in the league, and it was on full display in this year's Western Conference Finals.
So he can't effing guard you, huh?
Sorry?
He can't effing guard you?
Who said that?
You said that.
I didn't say that. I was speaking Slovenian.
For a time I can talk to God. Find a friend. Are you there?
Make a move. Let's it rip. Doncic puts it in for Luka on the logo. What is going on? Another one. Oh, wow.
Minnesota threw a handful of different defensive looks at Luka, and simply saying that he was able to figure it out would be an understatement. He lit their defense on fire. When he faced drop coverage, Luka was able to use the screen to put the defender in jail, keeping him on his backside as he drove to the basket while the big would drop into the paint. And it opened up Luka's entire arsenal. By keeping the defender behind him, he now had the option to shoot a floater in the lane, create even more space with his patented step back, and drive all the way to the rim if the big doesn't help. If he did help, it was an easy lob for Gafford Lively.
Against Gobert, tailed by McDaniel.
And if any other defender collapsed, Doncic would spray it out for a wide open 3. It was a scheme that Minnesota threw at him far too often, and he was able to manipulate it to get the exact shot he wanted every single time. If they decided to blitz him on the pick and roll, he'd simply throw the ball to the big on the short roll. And just like that, Dallas has a 4-on-3, where good ball movement leads to a wide open shot. And if they decided to switch the pick and roll, I mean, we all know what happens.
Doncic has the ball, down by 2.
There's the switch.
Gobert is out there. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! What a shot!
Luka's uncanny ability to read defenses like a veteran point guard who's had 15 seasons of NBA experience is unparalleled, considering the dude is 25 years old, and it's allowed him to produce for his team in a way that only the elites have been able to do. In fact, here are 50 of the greatest playoff performers in NBA history and their average production by the time they were 25 years old. Now, in this case, every player's average production was taken before they turned 26, allowing us to measure how great Luka has been up to this point in his career. There's his backcourt partner in Kyrie with a total production of 30, and Kobe produced nearly the exact same with a ridiculous 119 playoff games played at 25 years old. Above them is Carmelo Anthony during his early days in Denver, alongside Dwayne Wade, who was already an NBA champion and Finals MVP at 24. As we continue ascending, you'll spot some stars from the 80s and 90s in Charles Barkley, David Robinson, Isaiah Thomas, and Larry Bird, just shy of the 40 mark, which is where you begin to see the greatest playoff producers the game has ever seen, in Durant, Shaq, and Hakeem, just to name a few. But above them are the unicorns: LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the best young talents the postseason has ever seen. And the subject of this video finds himself among the greatest to ever do it. We're watching one of the all-time greats right in front of our eyes, and I got a feeling that he's just getting started. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.